Hello everyone. So welcome to the next session in our Modern Indian History course. And today we'll be discussing session number 47, that is Cabinet Mission and the Interim Government. Interesting session. Cabinet Mission is very important because ultimately its recommendation got accepted and it got some concrete manifestation in the scheme of things. And more importantly, I've already told you that the decade of 1940s is very dynamic and very to the point. Today also we'll see event by event, month by month, what is happening. All the events are important and the things are happening at a very brisk pace, right? Unlike the times that we have discussed earlier in the Portuguese time, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, we are reading nothing, 30 years. But here every month, every date is important. If we recap what we have done last time, in the last session, 46 session, we talked about two major things. That is the background of the INA agitation which is happening. The Indian National Army led by Subhash Chandra Bose has got defeated in the Battle of Kohima. We have discussed that. And after that, these people were taken as the prisoner of the war by the British thought that they will portray these soldiers as someone who have rebelled against the British Raj, and they will put them on the public trial, they'll hang them, they will decimate the Indian morale or something like that. But the opposite happened, that is the morale of the people got more increased, people agitated like anything, and the British have not anticipated this. They have to change their strategy. And in the background of the INA agitation, what happened? That is the your RIN revolt also. In the background of the INA agitation, what happened? That is the RIN revolt, Royal Indian Navy revolt. We have already discussed that one of the pillars of the British government in India or British Raj in India or anywhere, police, bureaucracy, and the revolt, and the army. And one of the pillar is now cracking. Along not only this pillar, but also the pillars such as civil services. It is also under cracking. We'll discuss that. Very small, briefly today, but we'll discuss that. Right. So this is the background. Then we have seen that because of the revolt, there was a change in attitude, that they decided to send the cabinet mission. Now, cabinet mission was supposed to be sent earlier, as in it was not that it was in the response to the RIN revolt. Yes, it came after the RIN revolt, but it was decided that it will be sent beforehand. It was not that because of the RIN revolt it was sent. So today we'll discuss about the cabinet mission and the interim government which will be formed. The interim government which the Congress has been demanding since the before the when the World War II was announced, right? Okay, fine. Let us look at the timeline first and then we will discuss it event by event. Very important for you to understand the cabinet mission, है ना? Important है because it is one of the areas in the modern history. Apart from that, is relatively easy to understand if you get the chronology right. But cabinet mission is some point or one of the topics which are relatively trickier to understand. That's all. It's very easy, not tough. So central elections were announced. We have discussed that in the winters of 1945-46. The elections were announced in the Central Legislative Assembly. We have discussed that because of this election manifesto, and we have discussed how this election manifesto was, what are the focus area of this election manifesto was. The focus area was that INA agitation, we have to get justice for the INA prisoner of the war. We have to make sure that our army is not indulged into the protection of the imperialism of the French or the Dutch in the Indochina. That happened means that were rescinded. Then we have discussed the RIN revolt in February. Then 24th March 1946, finally the cabinet mission has reached India. And within 2 to 3 months, it gives its plan. Then Muslim League and the Congress, first after a lot of different interpretations of it, finally they accept the plan. Muslim League on 6th of June and Congress on the 24th of June, they accept the plan. Then within 2 months, 16th August 1946, they will observe a direct action day. We will see why. Then September 1946, interim government will be formed. Then later on, Muslim League, after initially they will not join the interim government. In the September, they will not join the interim government, but in the October month, they will join the interim government, Muslim League. And in December 1946, first meeting of the Constituent Assembly will be held. Okay? And this is the Constituent Assembly which will frame the Constitution of India. And this Constituent Assembly was framed under which provision? That is the Cabinet Missions provision. Okay? याद रखना है. This is one thing that we have to remember. So Attlee government announced the cabinet mission in February 1946 that it will be sent to India. Okay? The members are Patrick Lawrence, who was, we have discussed, the Secretary of the State. Then Stafford Cripps, who was the President of the Board of Trade. A.V. Alexander, the First Lord of Admiralty. These are the three people. Mr. Cripps, who was the part of the Cripps mission, is again coming back to India. So you have to remember all the three members here. So who are the three members? First, Patrick Lawrence, Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander, three members of the cabinet mission. Mission reaches Delhi on 24th March. They have discussion with the Indian leaders, Gandhi ke saath, Jinnah ke saath. They are having this discussion, and finally they put their own plan in the May 1946. Before discussing the provisions of the cabinet mission, we have to understand one thing, that what is the understanding of the British when they give a cabinet mission plan. British understanding was that yes, our withdrawal is imminent, that we have to withdraw. Now the question is, withdraw means withdraw from India. We have to quit India. But the question is why? Why we have to quit India? We have discussed earlier, because the pressure from the allied powers, USA, we have discussed USA and USSR, why they wanted India to be free. British have also realized that it is no longer in their interest to continue there because of the RIN revolt, the INA agitation that they have seen. One of the pillars, which was the RIN revolt, collapsed their myth that any day this can happen. British Empire can come to an end. Then the civil services also, a lot of civil servants who have become a lot of indigenized, means because of the indigenization of the civil services, a lot of Indians are there are now in the civil services. When a lot of Indians are there in the civil services, and later on they will see how much, and they are watching, right, how much atrocity has been committed, quit India call, Mahatma Gandhi, this, that. They're also thinking, and they also know that now the British withdrawal is imminent. So obviously these Indians who are the loyal servants of the British Empire will have the tendency to be pro-India now, because no, they know that this is the future. British is going to go away any day. So that is also decreasing the confidence of the British that we can be there for long. Then let us read more. So the nationalism, very, very quickly points, nationalist forces struggle, penetration has penetrated into the untouched section of the masses. European ICS recruits have become less, and the policy of indigenization has led to the nationalism. As in, a lot of Indians have now become the part of the bureaucracy, and now they also want that India needs to be free. Then British strategy, after the Cripps offer very little to offer except the freedom, because now the Indians have rejected the dominion status. They have rejected everything what was offered in the Cripps. So only option was there that we have to get the partition or get the freedom done. Now British are also watching double-edged sword, right? What does it mean? We have discussed earlier. If they apply violence, on the non-violence resistance, anything that is happening non-violent, they will be exposed. We have discussed that how government was founded in the dilemma कि भाई करे तो करें क्या, right? What to do? Then if they don't clamp down on sedition anything, then their own prestige is lost, and the other people, Congress and the other people, they claim victory ki dekho government has not done anything. Then there are a lot of loyalists also within the British, Indian loyalist, a section of Indian communalist, whether Hindu communalist or the Muslim communalist, those who are the British loyalist, they're also not happy. Why the British is engaging with the Congress ki kya standing hai, questioned by the Muslim communalist as well as the Hindu communalist, Hindu Mahasabha and all these things, right? They are also saying that why the government is wooing the Congress, Cripps offer for cabinet mission, why they are doing so. INA agitation, demand for INA prisoners with the revolt of the INA ratings raised the fear that army force are not reliable anymore. They're not reliable anymore. Then a Congress Raj that they have already seen with the Congress ministries, and they knew that alternative rule is possible. It's not that without British we will collapse. So because of which it was seen that British withdrawal is imminent. British have realized now Indians are capable enough to take the administration into their own hand, and now we have to withdraw. In this context, the cabinet mission was sent. Some of the major provisions of the cabinet mission can be categorized as the rejection of the demand of the full-fledged Pakistan. Just like the Cripps, unlike the Cripps mission, which has a tacit approval of the partition or the Pakistan, I should say, the cabinet mission has rejected that Pakistan will not be made. Pakistan की feasibility नहीं है. It's not feasible to make Pakistan. But still we will see some issues there. But they talked about the groupings of the provinces in ABC. We'll see these groupings. Then they talked about the Constituent Assembly, and they say that the princely states are no longer to be under the paramountcy. So the paramountcy on the princely states, the agreements which were being signed with the princely states, now no longer valid. Princely states are free to do whatever they want to do, whether they want to become part of, not now, we'll see in the Mountbatten plan. Princely states are now free from their obligation of the paramountcy to the British Queen, right? British King, British monarchy. So these are the major provisions of the cabinet mission. First, that is rejection of the full-fledged Pakistan. So Pakistan, it was said the Pakistan demanded by the Muslim League. So Muslim League demanded Pakistan, this area and this area. So the British government said that around 38% in this area and around 48% in this area are non-Muslims. How can you say that these should be given a Muslim demand of the Pakistan? It's not that 99% or 90% are Muslims. There are also non-Muslims. So you also need to hear from them. You are not representing the non-Muslims. Yes, we agree that with the winning of the elections in 1945-46 winter, yes, you have claimed victory in the Muslim majority areas, but you still do not represent the will of the all the people who are living in this area. Hence, we cannot accept your full-fledged Pakistan demand. If they accept the Pakistan demand, it will open up the Pandora box, because at that time, some of this demand of the Khalistan, though the word itself was not being used at that time, but some people demanded in the Punjab that we need to create our own kingdom. We need to create our own separate country. Then deep-seated regional ties disturbed with Bengal and Punjab's partition. Now, Bengal and Punjab both, we know there is a Bengal in India, there is a Bengal in Bangladesh. Similarly, there is a Punjab in India, there is a Punjab in the Pakistan. For example, Lahore is the capital of the Pakistani Punjab. So there are deep-seated ties between the people on the both the sides. But if you divide them, if you partition them, it will create a lot of disturbances. And ultimately, when it was done under the partition, it did created all these problems, right? So if Bengal and Punjab are partitioned, it lead to a lot of deep-seated regional ties will be disturbed, and it will cause a lot of chaos. Partition would entail the economic and the administrative problem, yes, and division of the armed force if it is done. Because if the country is being divided between India and the Pakistan, then the division of the armed forces has to be done, and that is dangerous. That is a dangerous precedence. Arms forces, India and Pakistan, Pakistan and India, then it will create a dangerous situation, because a lot of security issues are there. And if you divide the army at that strength, when it is weakened, if you further weaken it by dividing, it will be more disastrous. So this was the rejection of the demand of the Pakistan. That's no Pakistan will be made. Next is grouping. Now grouping has to be done three ways: section A, section B, and section C. First, let us see the map. So section A is this, that is group A. So group A is basically the Hindu majority area. So this is the section A. Tick. This is the section B. This is the section B, and this is the section C. So these are the three sections. So you can see that section B में क्या है? Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, and Sindh. These are the Muslim majority provinces. Section C में, that is Bengal and the Assam, that is the Muslim majority provinces. So this is section B and section C. So the whole country was divided into three sections: Section A, Section B, and Section C. Group A, Group B, and Group C, we should say. Okay. So they envisage the federal structure. Provincial provinces will be given the full autonomy and some residuary powers. Residuary power means, we have discussed that in the polity, you must have read, there are three lists, hai na? Union list, concurrent list, and state list. If any subject is not present in these lists, then who will take up? That is the union. But the cabinet mission says that the residuary power will lie to the provinces. That means state government will take up that particular issue if any new issue comes up, or if any issue is not mentioned in such list. They talked about that common center will be created. Federal structure, okay, fine, but common center will be created, union government, which will take care of the defense, communication, and the external affair. Any communal question is there, for example, let us say separate electorate or anything, any communal question where the religion is coming into the picture, then both Hindu and the Muslim, simple majority will be required, present and voting. So Hindus will vote, Muslims will vote, and both require a simple majority to be passed that particular proposal. Option was given: after the first general election, provinces are free to come out of the group. The provinces are free to come out of the groups. After 10 years, provinces are free to call for a reconsideration of the group or the union constitution. Now, first, let us understand thoda sa aur, so that there is no confusion. So first, there is a whole India. There will be whole India. Then this is a one group, and within the group there will be provinces. I hope that is well understood, right? So there are three levels: first the central level, second at a sectional level or a group level, and third is the provinces level. So provinces are within these groups. तभी क्या कह रहा है वो कि after first general election the provinces can come out of the group. You need to understand some main points, because if you understand such points, then and only then you will be able to understand the objections of the Congress and the Muslim leagues to such groupings. तभी समझ में आएगा, then only we will be able to understand this. So Mission put forward his own plan for the solution of the constitution problem in May 1946. Rejection of the demand of the full-fledged Pakistan, grouping of the existing provincial assembly into three sections A, B, and C. Section A will be Madras, Bombay, Central Province, United Province, Bihar, and Odisha, Hindu majority province. And Section B we have discussed, Punjab, Northwest Province, Sindh, and Section C is the Bengal and the Assam area. So this is the grouping. I hope that is well understood. Grouping में there are two more provisions, that is, after the first general election the provinces are free to come out of the group. Second, after 10 years the provinces can call for a reconsideration of the group, that I don't want to be in this group, I want to be in the other group. थोड़ा complicated है नहीं? चलो. Next is your constituent assembly, very important. So constituent assembly will be elected by the provincial assemblies by the proportional representation. That means a constituent assembly which will create the constitution, they will have the members coming from the provincial assembly. That means the people directly will not vote for the people who are sitting in the constituent assembly. So it is just like Rajya Sabha. Think like that. You'll remember like that. इसीलिए there are a lot of criticisms of the constituent assembly as well, that constituent assembly was not representative of the people. Why? Because the people have not directly elected it like the parliament or the Lok Sabha of today. It was not the Lok Sabha of that day because it was not popularly elected. Rather, the members have come from the provincial assemblies. So elected by the provincial assemblies by the proportional representation, and the proportional representation will be given in the form of the General, Muslim, and the Sikhs. So Hindu will be under the General, Muslim, and the Sikhs. In totality, there will be 389 members. If you are at polity, obviously you have read all these parts. 292 members from the provincial assemblies, 4 members from the chief commissioner's province, that is the union territory of today, and 93 from the princely states. Now princely states are still what? Nominated, not elected. So princes will nominate these 93 members from their respective princely states. Now these groups, when they'll sit in the constituent assembly, what they'll do? They will sit together to decide for the union constitution. They will sit separately for their provincial constitution, because it's a federal constitution, so provincial constitution, or they will sit in a section wise or group wise to form their group constitution if they want. Okay? So sit separate to decide for the provinces and if possible for the group also. Then they will sit together to formulate a union constitution. So this was the idea because it was based upon the federal structure. Okay. Then grouping of the existing provincial assembly into three sections. Constituent assembly to be elected by the provincial assemblies by proportional representation. Members from the group A, B, C to sit separately to decide the constitution for province and if possible for the group also. The whole constituent assembly would sit together from the union constitution. Common center we have discussed. Provinces will have the full autonomy and residue power. That is, the weak center will be there. Like obviously, when you have the federal government and you're giving all the powers to the provinces, your center will be weak. Then there will be three-tier executive and legislature at three levels. First provincial, then sectional, and the union level. So this is an important point. क्या है कि भाई there will be governments at the all the three level, provincial, sectional, and the union. So not only union government but also sectional government. ठीक? Sections then provinces. ठीक है, princely states we have discussed that they are no longer under the paramountcy of the British. They would be free to enter into any agreement with the successor government or the British government. Then after the 5-year general election, provinces are free to come out of the group, and after 10 years, they are free to reconsider. Interim government will be formed from the Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly which will be created from which the interim government will be formed, or vice versa. So these body of the people who will be elected, they'll work as both as a constituent assembly which will frame the constitution and as an interim government, that is the government which will take the day-to-day decisions before the first general election. So before the first general election, what will be there? Interim government. And interim government will sit also as the constituent assembly. Same body will sit as the constituent assembly. Then after general election, the first government will be made. And the constitution, whenever it is ready, the constitution will be taken up like that. After the constitution, only the government will be made. You know? Different interpretation. Now, okay, cabinet mission has given its recommendation. But now Muslim League and Congress have the relatively different interpretation of it. Whether these groupings are compulsory or not. That was the main question. Whether one province has to form these groups or these groupings has to be made mandatorily or not. So the Congress was that the cabinet mission was against the creation of the Pakistan. That is, grouping is optional according to Congress. That is Congress view. That grouping is optional. One constituent assembly envisaged and no veto which should be given to the Muslim League on this. While Muslim League says that Pakistan is implied in the compulsory grouping. The Muslim League ने क्या बोला कि भाई groups are compulsory and the group B and group C are what? Nothing but Pakistan. This was the interpretation of the Muslim League. Now Muslim League ने बोल तो दिया. Muslim League said that okay, but finally cabinet mission has clarified that the yes, groupings are compulsory. ठीक ठीक है. Then what are the objections to the cabinet mission? Objections we know. थोड़ा सा imagine करो, दिमाग लगाओ. What will be the objection of the Congress? First objection will be, imagine, on the one hand you are saying the provincial autonomy. On the one way you are saying that provincial autonomy needs to be given, and on the other hand you are saying that provinces are compulsorily needs to be in this group. So where is the provincial autonomy? So there is a contradiction in that. So this is that compulsory grouping and the provincial autonomy cannot go together. Provinces should not wait for the first general election to be completed to come out of the group. It, as they have said that they, according to them, the grouping is not compulsory. That is their view. So when the cabinet mission has clarified no, the grouping is compulsory, they say no, the provinces should not wait and they need to come out of the group. Provinces option of not joining any group, the option needs to be given that we don't want to join any group. Then obviously the old problem that is from the princely states, why you are not giving the election option, why again and again this nomination option, this is also not right. Muslim League said that if the grouping is compulsory, then say this is Pakistan. Why are you not saying Pakistan? On the one hand, you are saying that grouping is compulsory. On the other hand, you are saying that we have rejected the demand of the full-fledged Pakistan. What is this? At least clarify your stand. We are not clear. What are you saying? Then Muslim League, then later on, both the parties accepted the offer. June 6, Muslim League accepted, Congress accepted because it had the provision for the Constituent Assembly. It had the provision for the interim government. That's why. Then elections were held in the provincial assemblies for the Constituent Assembly. And Nehru gave a statement on July 10th, 1946. Nehru said that कि भाई, there are a lot of against the cabinet mission plan, as in whatever is, we have joined the cabinet mission bar, we have accepted that the elections have happened, we will form the interim government, but these groupings are not compulsory, especially if you see some areas such as NWFP. Now NWFP lies in the group number B, but there the Congress has formed the government. We have discussed that Congress ने government form किया Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan area. So the Nehru said, no, 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 these things will not happen. And now the Muslim League is highly enraged. They say that we will go for the direct action day. The Nehru can never be our leader, and we have to form our own Pakistan, and we will do everything to take our Pakistan. So this is your objections and the acceptance and the rejection of the cabinet mission plan. In between, one peripheral topic that is there, the Wavell, who was the viceroy at that time, he has proposed something to the cabinet mission. Cabinet mission was sitting. Wavell ने बोला कि भाई मेरा भी सुन लो, listen to me, I have some plan also. So Wavell went to cabinet mission plan and he presented his plan. He said that let us make one different plan. He said that we need to withdraw the British army and official to the Muslim provinces of the northwest and the northeast, and we should hand over the rest of the country to the Congress. That means, in a nutshell, don't take it literally, that is B and C. The British should live in these B and C, and rest of the India we should hand over the Congress. So he said that we want to make this Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland actually experienced the independence or experienced the revolution in 1920s. And after the partition happened and they formed this particular area, British settled in the Northern Ireland. So Ireland itself has fought against the United Kingdom for their independence, for its independence from the United Kingdom. We don't have to get into the history of it, just to understand. So Ireland is fighting from the United Kingdom, the whole Ireland, this whole Ireland. So one solution was taken out that some of the people in the Northern Ireland were loyalists to the United Kingdom. So they said that, okay, fine, divide kar lete hain, and the British or the United Kingdom, which was earlier here, they will be moved to Northern Ireland. So abhi bhi kya hai, Northern Ireland is the part of the United Kingdom, and this is that separate Ireland. You must have read in your Brexit, whenever current affairs that you have read, that one of the agreements which is there between the Northern Ireland and the Ireland, because this Ireland is the part of the European Union, and now the British has withdrawn from the European Union. So that was the idea, that in the current affair context, that how this border will be created, and this was one of the major problem that was expected of coming out of the Brexit. Okay, chalo. So withdrawal of the British army and officials of the Muslim majority province, they will supersede it, though superseded by the cabinet mission plan. Usko zyada dhyan nahi diya cabinet mission plan. It was an evidence that British recognition of the impossibility of suppressing any Congress-led rebellion. That imagine in the future Congress comes up with another Quit India Movement Part 2 or anything, then the British will not be able to counter it. So it's better to give India to the Congress and let's have these areas to ourselves, and desire in some higher circles to make another island of the Pakistan, कि वहीं पे हम settle हो जाएंगे. Then direct action day was observed. We'll discuss direct action day in detail in the next session. In August 1946, communal scene was getting a lot of communalization, and the polarization was happening because Muslim League decided that we need Pakistan, and for the demand of Pakistan, they will polarize everything. They need to get it done. So a lot of area you can see Calcutta, Bombay, Naukhali, Bihar, Garmukteshwar, and a lot of area where the Muslims were there. They are a lot of tensions and the communal violence is there. Then government also saw this कि भाई how many this all these things are happening, and they say कि भाई जल्दी से हमें we need to form this interim government. Even if Muslim League is not there currently, which does not want to form the interim government, we'll form the interim government with the Congress itself. ठीक भाई, उन्होंने बोला कि we need to get it done, right? We need to put this interim government in. ठीक है, चलो. Then the interim government was formed. It was sworn in September 2, 1946. Nehru continued to insist on party opposition to compulsory grouping. Despite the title, interim government was not more than a continuation of the old executive of the Viceroy. Means Viceroy and his executive. Now these executives are Indians led by Nehru, but Viceroy held the veto. For example, you see, Revolt overruled the ministers on the issue of release of the INA prisoners in his very last cabinet meeting in the March 1947. Imagine the president having the power to veto whatever the Modi ji is saying. That's the idea. ठीक है, तो the viceroy should have only symbolic power. The Nehru should have the most power, but that was not there. तो interim government भी कुछ ज्यादा था नहीं. Wavell quietly brought the Muslim League into the interim government. Muslim League was allowed to join without giving up the direct action, despite its rejection of the cabinet unit's long-term and short-term plans, despite insistence on the compulsory grouping with decision taken by the majority vote by the section as a whole. Despite all these, without leaving all these instances, Muslim League joined interim government. Now the question is why the Muslim League has joined the interim government. So interim government was formed with some of the leaders of the Congress, obviously Nehru, Patel, Baldev Singh, Raja Gopalachari, C.H. Bhabha, Rajendra Prasad and all these, but also members from the Muslim League. Liaquat Ali Khan, for example, important finance portal, commerce portal and all these things. The big question is that why the Muslim League has joined the interim government. Imagine the time why the Swadeshi have joined the government, or not government per se, but why Swadeshi have joined the assembly to obstruct. So the idea of the Muslim League that, okay, fine, on the one hand, we are having this direct action and we are polarizing and everything is fine. We also need to enter into the government and we create deadlock here. So on the streets also, Sansad se Sadak tak. On the streets also, we'll put the polarization, and in the parliament also, what we'll do, we'll put up the deadlocks. When a lot of deadlocks will be there, the Nehru and his team will soon realize that inko de do Pakistan, give them the Pakistan what they desire, because that is the only and only solution to the problem. No other solution is visible to them. कि भाई इनको दे दो पाकिस्तान, that is all. ठीक है. So this was the approach or the ulterior motive of the Muslim League. For example, League did not attend the Constituent Assembly. So Assembly was confined itself to passing the general objective resolution. So only the INC and the INC participated in the, apart from the Muslim League, others also participated, but INC was the major party. League refused to attend the informal meetings of the cabinet to take the decision. So they are putting this deadlock in. The League questioned the decision, the appointment made by the Congress members. Liaquat Ali Khan was the finance minister. He restricted and encumbered the efficient functioning of the other ministries because everything is dependent upon the finance. League has only sought the foothold in the government to fight for the Pakistan. For them, it was a continuation of the civil war by other means. I already told you the same strategy that was there for the Swadeshi. The Congress demand that the British get the League to change its attitude in the interim government or quit. Whether work with us or quit, nikal jao. ठीक. A lot of Congress members of cabinet wrote to Viceroy demanding the resignation of the League members and threatening the withdrawal of their own nominees. The law straw came with the League demanding the dissolution of the Constituent Assembly, and the crisis seems to be developing rapidly. Means League said कि League ने proposal दिया in the cabinet that the Constituent Assembly needs to be dissolved. We will not accept this constitution and we will not become the part of this Constituent Assembly. They were enraged, right? Because the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly happened in the 9th December 1946, and the League has not presented itself in that meeting. So now the Congress leaders are saying it is too much, and now your priorities will not be taken care of. We have listened to you a lot. No long, no more. So with this, we finish today's session. Now you can see few of the things that are happening. Muslim League and the Congress, again a deadlock is there. Yes, interim government has formed, constitutional assembly is functioning, but again a deadlock is there. Now next part, in the political part, that is at least statement will come. He will say कि भाई अब तो date दो इनको. He will set up a date कि भाई till that time British will be there, and after that we'll leave everything and we'll go. Whatever the late date was given, we'll discuss. The late date was given to make sure that these two parties come together and discuss things. They're wasting everyone's time. But in the next session, in the 48th session, we'll talk about the communalism, okay? Direct action day and all these things, two nation theory, all these things that we will discuss in the next session. Till then, keep revising. Keep revising. A few of the mains questions are left. I'll give the mains question simultaneously, and maybe I can provide you a PDF, or I'll discuss with you questions wise कि भाई ये क्वेश्चंस एडिशनल है, and we'll do that, not an issue. ठीक है. So with this we finish today's session, and I'll see you in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.